Right, here we go. Record. Good. Fab. So supplements today.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So
I have spent,
yes.
well, I dread to think what I've spent on supplements over the years.
Yeah.
An absolute fortune.
Oh, I know. And do you have any in the house at the moment?
Do you know what? I should have collected them all together. I might go and do a bit of a scavenge, but yes, I have. I did chuck a load out because I realised they were really, really out of date.
Yeah.
I've got things like evening primrose, calcium, vitamin D, some St John's wort, which I took for a while when I was particularly depressed. I think it did help a little bit actually. It was a tincture. That was a tincture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
St John's wort. Love it. Always got to be careful if you are on any medication with St John's wort.
Which I'm not.
No.
Not at all. I had loads of these supplements that were actually so hard to take. Like you'd open the top and it would just be like, oh, really? It's particularly the multivitamin that I took. I could barely swallow it.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Like
That's a clue, right? That should be a clue for us.
It was like a hard, really big, almost like a horse suppository. It was so hard to swallow.
Yes. Yeah, I'm with you there. I mean, oh my goodness, I've taken so many supplements, and I took calcium and vitamin D when I was a child because I wasn't on dairy, and so how on earth do we get calcium if we're not drinking cow's milk like we're little calves? Good Lord. Hint to everybody watching this: you eat your green vegetables. That's how you get your calcium. And so that was like one of the things. Evening primrose oil was one that my mum gave me. My mum was big on like trying to find other ways of helping me.
That makes sense to me though. Oh, I'm going to turn the sound off my phone. That does make sense to me. The like lubrication, like
anti-inflammatory
should help.
Yes, but again, it's not fixing the issue, it's suppressing the problem. And so one of the things I always remember I hated, evening primrose oil. It was just any oil was the most disgusting thing. And I couldn't take, I don't know whether you were like this, but I couldn't actually swallow capsules or take.
I could, but when you get the advice so that you need this, and this, you get to about the 4th or 5th capsule and you're like, oh no, I can't swallow that many. So no, I could swallow them, but I did struggle.
Yeah. But when I was like young, obviously, the younger you are, you haven't got the sort of capacity to swallow these capsules. So my mum used to kind of get a little like fork or something and prick it and squeeze the oil out onto a spoon, and then I'd have to drink it, and it was just the most vile thing.
Castor oil or something.
We're like, no. And then I remember being like, it's okay, Mum, I can take. She found like some really small ones. I'll take them. So I used to take them off her and go in the front room with my little glass of water, and I would put the capsules under the sofa.
When did she find them?
One day when she moved the sofa to Hoover, and there was this long line of evening primrose capsules. So a hint, I'm sorry all these children that might be doing the same thing, but just something that parents might want to bear in mind. Where are your children actually putting these things?
The worst thing I ever had was a Chinese herbal thing, which was so disgusting. It did actually make me retch, and I couldn't. It was a tea. You kind of mixed it up. It was just disgusting. Yeah. So disgusting.
I remember. A lot of people have said that because they're very powerful, very strong from a Chinese herbal perspective, and very potent.
But then you've given me some tea, which we'll probably come on to later, which I'd say it's quite a strong smell and it's brewing, but it's certainly, I could drink it. I don't know what a kid would make of it.
Yeah. Probably a lot of the kids that I'm working with, they at the start, they're a bit like,
it's okay.
But actually, after a couple of weeks, we become very tolerant of it. Same with the Chinese herbs. So, you know, whether it's Chinese herbs, whether it's Western herbs, whatever you're using, in fact, some of the herbs that I use are Chinese herbs. In fact, they're in, if you went to a Chinese herbalist, they would be in their stock as well. And
Pretty
so
sure I'm not used to that stuff I had though.
no, I think it depends on obviously what practitioner you go to, but I have heard that there's some very potent.
My mum tried it. She was like, you've got to, you know, we've spent money on this now, you've got to try it. And she couldn't drink it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm kind of glad that my mum decided not to go down that route with me.
I think I did try to have it, but it was like less and less, and it was just not very nice.
Yeah. So I do hear that a lot. I know with like the Western herbs that I use it, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to study really Western herbs, because there's some more aromatic ones that we can use. It doesn't all have to be like torture to be taking these things.
I'm getting used to the tea. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's not something I would come home, like, you know, when you get home you think, oh, I could really do with a cup of, it's not the thing it's not a thing I crave particularly. Like red fish tea I really like, but
give it time, that might change, you never know. I think the other thing, just sort of like pulling it back to obviously like supplements, I suppose, because whenever people ask me about supplements, it's always with regards to like vitamins and minerals, and you know, and what should I be taking for you know, to help my skin and things like that. And just a quick kind of explanation as to my journey, I suppose, for people, because when I was very focused on you know, supplementing, like working out, right, okay, I need to work out what I'm deficient in, or what I don't have enough of, and then if I supplement with that, then my body's going to have exactly what it needs, and it's going to magically fix everything, you know. And then this realization, when you go through all this effort and work, I got my DNA tested, I got my report back that said, well, you need twice as much vitamin A, twice as much vitamin E, twice as much vitamin C as the average person. You know, again with you know, with omega-3s twice as much as anybody else. So what I did was I was like, right, I'm going to use that, and I'm going to supplement what my DNA report was telling me to supplement. Did that make me better? No, it made me worse.
Did it make it worse?
I had more symptoms come up, new symptoms that I'd never had before come up than I had done like forever. It was absolutely crazy. And it made me kind of question, because I was very much just like, okay, you know, that's we need to go down this route. We've got to find the exact nutritional balance for our bodies, and then we can fix it, and then it'll all be okay. And I was so convinced that was what I needed to do. And then when my whole world fell apart when I was actually doing it, I realised that didn't do anything.
It's also quite hard to take that many things.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really tricky. And I think with gosh, I was taking so many pills and, you know, supplements, and it cost a fortune, as you said, Ruth. Absolute fortune. Because if you go for good quality stuff, which you're going to get more from a absorption perspective, we know you're going to get more from that, so you end up spending more as well, maybe getting organic stuff as much as possible. Then it's easy to be going upwards, especially for an adult, towards like 200-300 quid a month on supplements. My suggestion to anybody that's doing this at the moment, stop taking them and see what happens. Have you fixed anything?
You told me to do that, and nothing happened. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to order the herbal tinctures that you recommended, so I wasn't taking anything for quite a while.
Yeah, it can be really scary, because I think we've created a pill for an ill society, basically. I have an illness, what do I need to take in pill form that's going to make me better? And it's exactly the same with natural health practitioners. And if I were to send somebody away, this is like the conundrum, I suppose, that natural health practitioners are under, especially naturopaths.
Yeah.
If I sent somebody away with a prescription to go and meditate every morning, take a walk in nature, go and sit in the sunshine and read a book rather than watch the television, they'd be like, well, that was a waste of time, wasn't it? You know, they've
Probably
not given me anything.
Probably help more than calcium
Yes,
supplements.
it would. This is like the conundrum that we're in, because we're brought up to think that we need to supplement. I mean, we've evolved over millennia and we haven't had supplements, and yet we're in a health crisis with so many chronic health conditions. This isn't fixing it. We're not making them go away with these supplements, are we? So.
What are the highest in calcium? Because calcium is the one that everyone thinks, especially when you're not eating dairy.
Yeah.
And I know it's green leafy vegetables, but are there any other things that are really full of calcium?
Pretty much everything's got calcium
in
it. Yeah, if you're looking at fruits and veggies, yes, you know, pretty much everything is going to have calcium, magnesium. It's got most of the vital. So vegetables are very much mineral. You know, if you want to up your minerals, get your vegetables in there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of vitamins. Focus, I suppose, more vitamins maybe on the fruits, but you've got vitamins and minerals in all fruits and veggies, basically. And I encourage people to not be so, you know, oh, I need to eat this, you know, eat a rainbow. Let's come out of the detail and think, okay, how can I reduce my stress over whether I'm getting the right amount of all these vitamins and minerals? Do you know what? We've got this kind of like amazing system in our body that will manage it all for us, that it knows if we need more calcium, and it sends a message, and the digestive system works harder to get more calcium out of the food we've eaten. Same with,
make you crave things that would have those
potentially. Yeah, potentially. Just like your bacteria, if you've got overgrowth of candida in the gut, they can send a message to the brain to get you to crave carbohydrates so that it gets fed.
Yeah, sugar they want, don't they?
Like that. Yeah, exactly. So yes, cravings, you know, can come from that perspective. But it's, you know, the stress that we put on ourselves to be trying to attain, we're going back to that diet question that we were talking about last week, right? To be getting the right diet and the right nutrients, it is doing more damage than actually, you know, than we can ever know, basically. We need to reduce the stress, definitely. But yeah, I think so. You've stopped the supplements. What were you? Do you mind sharing what you were taking?
I don't mind at all, because we were just chatting, weren't we? So I one of the things I'm taking, which probably makes the most sense to mention first, is the organic alfalfa, which is one that you recommended.
Yeah.
Which is naturally just full of calcium, isn't it?
Oh yes, calcium, lots of minerals in there. Also, it is very. I can't see the label.
Yeah, calcium, magnesium, potassium.
Yeah.
Vitamins E and K, it says on there.
Yeah, it's a great all-rounder, but it also, the main reason that I give that to adults is to support the lymphatic system.
Yeah.
And to support the cleansing and the drainage of the lymphatic system, which we know is struggling.
How many should I be taking of those?
It depends on the strength and the bottle. I can't remember which one I've given you.
These are capsules, 500 milligram.
It's either 1 or 2, I think.
I think I've been taking 1, but it says 2 on here, so I might start taking 2. Other things I'm taking are in little bottles like this.
Yeah.
They're a tincture. So I am taking gentian, astragalus, burdock, nettle, and milk thistle. Nice. So milk thistle I was actually taking before, so I was quite pleased that I did have one thing right in my cupboard. But none of the others I'd ever really heard of before, and also this, which is an adrenal support.
Nice, yeah.
Dr. Bronner's adrenal support.
Yeah.
And what Rebecca tells you to do, is to mix them all up, because otherwise you're trying to each morning remember which one you've done into a little thing. To take one each day. So you just mix it all up, and then you haven't got to measure it all out each day.
Exactly. Especially, you know, some herbs are going to be stronger than others as well. So, you know, don't, for example, cayenne tincture. We don't need a lot of that. So you want to be very careful when we're talking, what you mix up. But when I'm talking on, often on these kind of calls and stuff, I go very general with recommendations that I know people can go in and be quite safe with. Okay, so if any of you guys are doing cayenne, remember they say that's what, pepper, quite hot, right? So we don't need much of that. I'm currently taking cayenne pepper at the moment, not on its own. It's in a tincture, and it's the last ingredient on a tincture. And I tell you, I have like the smallest amount of it, and I'm like, oh, literally, it burns. You do not need a lot of it, but cayenne is an interesting one. Not, I would say, for TSW in general. So some cases I will give cayenne to, but for most I wouldn't be.
I don't need any more heat coming out.
Exactly, yeah. So some people, they go through TSW, but they're freezing. They feel absolutely freezing.
I know people, a lot of them are,
Yeah. So so it looks like you're hot, but actually there's a stagnation issue.
People seem to be oozing a lot more than I did as well. So they're losing all of that, lot more liquid. I didn't have an awful lot of that. I did a bit. But I had more dampness rather than loads of.
The thicker ooze kind of.
I didn't have so much of that.
No, that's good.
It's around my wrists where I had that, which is nice and easy to bandage up.
That's easier to look after, isn't it? But there'll be specific indicators from a cayenne pepper. We need to be careful with that one. But so milk thistle.
What are they doing?
Milk thistle is for the liver. So that's a Viridian brand. Now Viridian is a really nice brand, one that I do like. So if any of you guys are looking into herbs, Viridian is good. Fushi is also a good brand. You want to be looking for organic. You want to be looking for you could have a local producer that maybe can't afford to have an organic branding either, because in most countries they've got to pay to be able to say that it's organic, and they've got to go through a lot of testing, and that costs a hell of a lot of money. So if you have somebody locally that you can talk to and you trust how they're producing these things, and they're growing these things organically, that's the most
much as they can.
Exactly. And support local, because a lot of herbalists, they might not go into seeing patients, but they'll go into like growing herbs, and these are often really small businesses, small farms. They might make a few tinctures, so we want to support local as much as possible.
I hadn't even thought of that. I haven't come across any locally here.
But there's loads. When you go to like craft fairs or little markets, often these people will kind of pop up, and you'll be like, hello, what are you doing? So definitely worth looking at. But milk thistle is very much for supporting the liver, supporting the toxins to be processed. Don't drop it.
Putting them all over. Just writing on each one what they do. So I'm writing on liver, on milk thistle. Okay.
So specifically when we're looking at eczema, we can see that the skin is having to take over some of that elimination and detoxification, right? So we know that the liver needs support, right? So milk thistle, great one. Often this is taken by people if maybe they've been out and had a few too many to drink. We might need a little bit of liver support. It helps with detoxification.
Saying nothing. I was recommended it to help with allergic reactions. So like when I was having a lot of allergic reactions, it's going back a bit now.
Yes. So again, any allergic reaction that is that we're having, the body has to eliminate and detoxify the byproducts of what is happening in an allergic reaction. So it will be supporting your body to eliminate those things, basically. So works both ways. So yeah, it's a really good one, really nice one.
This one I say wrong. Astragalus.
Astragalus, yeah.
Which I don't know what that is.
Astragalus is actually one that is a bit of a crossover. So it's typically a Chinese herb, but we do use it in Western herbs as well. So that is one that I generally use for, again, lymphatic cleansing. It's very alkalizing to the body. So yeah, it's a really, yeah, it's a good tonic as well to some of the glands that we need to support.
Which glands?
So I think, oh man, you're testing me now, aren't you?
Yeah.
I think it's thyroid off the top of my head. I have to go and look into my notes. I come on these calls and I'm like, oh man, here we go.
Ask me?
Test my knowledge.
Gentian, which sounds like, I think that's a plant, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah, gentian root. Yes.
Yeah.
So again, gentian is one that is digestive support, basically. So it's got a few different uses, as all herbs have, to be perfectly honest. So when we're using the different herbs, it's not that they're just doing one thing on the body. They work holistically, so they are going to work on multiple organs, but we kind of just focus on, right, I'm giving you milk thistle, it's going to be focusing on the liver, but it will also be working on the blood, it will be working on the skin as well, and all these other things. So gentian is specifically from your perspective, we're working from a digestive perspective. So GI tract repair, cleansing, calming, making sure everything is being processed properly, whatever you're eating.
Well, I think that's been working really well. I've never had such good digestion.
Good. Excellent. It's a really nice one. It's not too, it can be a bit strong sometimes, but I don't think it's too bad, actually, that one from a GI perspective.
And burdock. So I've had dandelion and burdock. I quite like that.
Yes. Yeah.
Burdock root, this is.
Yeah, so burdock, again, very much liver focused. And also skin. So it's a really good one for eczema or skin conditions, because it does have that dual focus of the liver and the skin, and we know the liver needs support, and we know that the skin is already struggling, so it kind of comes in and works on both of those levels. It helps calm down inflammation, and clear out that waste, basically. So yeah,
so we've got one more, two more actually. I think just on the helping the skin.
Yes.
I'm still going through topical steroid withdrawal, and I was describing the symptoms to you earlier. They are still, when I have a flare, awful. I'm getting one a week where my skin splits. It's like I've got cuts here, but that will last. It kind of either happens in the daytime, sometimes it happens all night, and that's really annoying. If it happens in the day, that's bad enough. But when it starts happening at night, I'm like getting up in the night for another ice pack, because it feels like my skin is just on fire. It's like hives burning. Feels like impetigo coming. But then within 2 days, it's better.
Yeah.
I just cannot believe how quickly my skin can heal from this now. And it didn't used to heal that quickly before I was taking these. It would just be just constantly awful, and then just when you start to feel like you're healing, it would start happening again. Yeah,
I think that's just one of the things is, you know, if anybody's on, whenever we're on this kind of healing journey, and I always call it a journey, because, and it's like a roller coaster, because it's very up and down, and we're so used to living in a world where we have an ill and we pop a pill and that ill goes away, but then we get a bigger ill further down the line, right? What we're doing here is we're trying to move away from that model and understand that there are different layers to healing and repair of the body. And so, you know, we go so far, but actually when we've suppressed for so long, it's almost like, you know, you've got your entire wardrobe on and you're just sort of like shedding one layer at a time, basically, and your body will go through those cycles. And the gaps for you guys, this is typically what happens with TSW, is the gaps between those flares will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the skin will just start to get better and better and better, and the severity will just start to die down. It's you know, we don't know this. It's very, I have real big trouble giving timelines.
I know, everyone wants to know the time.
Yeah.
I went on an Insta live, and unfortunately they don't remain there, but it was with Cara. I can't remember her surname, but she's written a book about her topical steroid journey, and another lady who was on the call with her, and that was what they were all saying, was people are asking, how long am I going to have this?
Yeah.
Just, you don't know, you just got to wait. Some people have 3 months, 6 months. Most people have more than that, and on average it's 18 months to 3 years, which when you start doing it sounds awful, but I'm nearly a year and a half in now, and I'm so much better than I was before.
Yeah. Well, I think it's almost like the mentality of the world, though, isn't it? It's like, I want it now. I want to be done with this, and we get to the point where it's like, I'm wishing my life away, you know.
Yeah.
And actually,
no, but what do you know that compares to topical steroid withdrawal? And I'm not saying I want to heal immediately, but I'm trying to get something out of my body. I've done heavy metal cleanses before after a mercury filling or something. Even that doesn't take as long as this, nor is it as painful. It's horrendous how long it takes to come out of your body. So I get why people are so stressed out about how long it takes, but you just can't really speed it up. I would say I used to have these flare-ups every day, and I'm not joking. It would crust up, and then by the end of the day, people waking off them. The next day, it would be happening again. And now it's happening every week to 2 weeks, and that's worse at the moment because it almost went away.
Yes, and then you're like, oh, hello, no. And then it comes back.
No, it hasn't gone.
Yeah.
Back. So it's now kind of every 8 days to 2 weeks I'll get one of these flares. So make the most of it when it's not there.
Yeah, exactly. So true.
Nettle is another one which we haven't talked about now. I've been using nettle for ages. I know that nettle tea, just a nettle tea. I remember the first time I had it, I got hives all the way over my legs, and I thought, well, that's ridiculous. Why would you have nettle tea? It just gives you nettle rash. But it wasn't. It was just immediately detoxing my skin. And I've made it from fresh nettles that I'd picked.
Nice.
I decided that it didn't work, and then this Austrian herbalist that I saw years ago, and I didn't really listen to her. If only I'd met her now. Yeah. She's telling me all the things that you are, and I thought, oh, this Austrian woman's mad.
Yes, mental. Oh, I know. Don't worry. Yeah, how many times can I go back?
She said that's what it's supposed to do. Yeah. So keep taking it, and it wasn't actually that much of a discomfort. So nettle.
Nettle, yes. So nettle is one of my go-to that I kind of recommend for most people if they're wanting to start looking at something from a herbal perspective that is going to benefit them, especially if we're going through topical steroid withdrawal or if we're dealing with eczema. So nettle is exceptionally nutritive. So there is a lot.
Nutritive.
Yes.
I like that word.
Nutritive. It is amazing, right? If you're stuck in the middle of nowhere, make yourself a nettle tea.
If you're stuck in the middle of nowhere, you do just need something to make it with, because it's horrible stuff.
Maybe. Yeah, it's quite an interesting taste, but
I love
it. Very nutritious. Very nutritious from a mineral content perspective. Okay, so when we're talking about, oh my goodness, am I getting the right nutrition? Remember, these herbal tinctures actually have minerals in them as well. So, we are getting that nutrition from that perspective too. Otherwise, nettle is about eliminating acid from the body, which is, what we're trying to achieve, isn't it?
Well, we're eliminating something. I don't know what it is.
Yes. So if we are if we just sort of take the body in general, if we're looking overall as to what's going on, right? The body typically is an alkaline. We should be generally alkaline, apart from the stomach, which should be acidic, because that's where we should have the acid juices and we should be digesting. The rest typically should be pretty much alkaline, give or take a couple of bits, right? But if we are eating the wrong diet, that being kind of high acidic diet. So things like, have we got lots of dairy, have we got lots of alcohol, have we got lots of processed foods, have we got lots of white flour going in, you know, cakes, pastries, all the yummy things, unfortunately, the pizzas and, you know, all that kind of stuff. That will actually, once we've digested it, it leaves like an acid residue in the body. That acid residue has to be, you know, it's all about balance. The body is all about balance. So if we have too much acid in the diet, we need to balance it with alkaline. So our body will become out of balance, and slowly but surely over the years, the body will start to become more and more acidic. We start to become hotter, we get inflammation, we get things going wrong. You start to get cells which are kind of like bathing in like acid, and then they start to alter. The DNA starts to alter, starts to mutate. What's that? That's cancer, right? This is the progression. And so this was like my wake-up call when I was studying, was just like, man, if I don't get control of my inflammation now, after 30 years of living in a very inflamed body, I know the destination, I know where I'm going. And so that's what prompted me to make really big changes. And I didn't start with herbs for a while. I just did food changes.
That's really worrying what you've just said. So are you saying that people that have inflammation for a long time, like eczema, are more at risk of?
If you look at risk of cancer, then you're looking, it is, you know, it's an inflammatory. It is inflammatory, and this is what I took when I was studying, and I'm looking at, like, we had a lecture specifically on cancer, and I came out of that lecture and I was just like, oh my god. Also like, oh my god, but also, oh my god, there is so much we can do to completely avoid this. So you, again, like everything, Ruth, you know, you see people that are dealing with TSW that are like, oh, this is the worst thing that's happened to me. And then you have people like you who are just like, okay, I'm dealing with this, right, I'm just going to share as much as I can with people to try and educate them and help them. It's the mindset that it comes down to, just like anything, isn't it? But the way I see it is, you know, yes, if you've got more inflammation in the body, there's a problem going on. And you, to me, yes, you know, I need to get some scientific kind of studies really gathered to kind of pull this together. But it's something that really prompted me to pay attention to my diet more, because my diet was atrocious, really.
So Saturday night I was very much
oh god,
I was getting my 6th ice pack out of the freezer, and I hadn't been putting the other ones back, just been flinging them down. And then when I had to get them, I've got about 4, when I had to get them all and put them back in and wait for them to get cold again, and I'm still like, I want to tear my face apart.
I know.
I just feel sorry for myself.
Yeah, but that, again, totally normal, right? It's just up and down, because again as women, obviously we've got hormonal changes going on every month, so it depends at what time of the month we're on as to whether we can cope with these things. But just, I suppose, just going back, I just want to just point this out as well. So at the point that I started studying, okay, I was going to hospital, so I was doing my regular smear tests, and they came back to say that I had problems. I had to go to have further investigation, had like the biopsies, and they came back and said, yeah, okay, so we need to take some cells away because we've got, like, you know, precancerous cells. We don't know whether they would turn cancerous or not. That wasn't surprising to me, based on as I was learning at that point. This was when I was at college.
That was from a smear test.
Yeah, from a smear test. And so they did the biopsy, and at this point I was learning all about nutrition. This is when I was doing my nutritional training, and I completely changed my diet. So I came off the processed foods. I massively reduced the alcohol to the point where I was hardly drinking anything at all, massively increased fruits and veggies. And by the time my appointment came round to go and have those cells removed, the nurse was like, have we got the right pictures here? Because this can't be you, because the cells that I need to remove there's a much smaller area than I need to remove, based on what was there originally when they did the original biopsy. And that was in the matter of a few months. So diet, and she was like, what have you been doing? She said, what have you done to make this change? And I said, oh, I'm studying nutrition, and I just completely changed my diet based on, eliminating the high acid foods and getting in just fruit and veggies. That's all I was pretty much eating. And she went, oh, interesting. Okay, well, it seems to have done something. And so, the body has an amazing way of fixing itself, but if we're just oblivious to it, if we're not really supporting it in the right way, then things go unchecked, right? And we can create all kinds of problems for ourselves. So
that's very worrying, though.
Don't let it worry
you. It's a bit scary, but we have control over these things.
We all have control, and the decisions that we're making on a daily basis for everybody, we're just fortunate in a way that our body, this is how I was fortunate in the way that my body was obviously telling me, hey, I'm inflamed, you need to do something about this. And a lot of people don't have that.
No, mine won't even let me eat processed foods much. And I don't know if I don't think I'm imagining it, but every time I have anything processed, I get a problem. And I had some sorbet that I found in the back of my freezer. And I remember buying this sorbet thinking, sorbet is fruit and water.
It's probably not.
And the ingredients list was horrendous. And I almost put it back, but I just wanted sorbet that day, and I'd only had a little bit. And it was disgusting. It was horrible. It was just, really didn't enjoy it. I ate it because this is lockdown, right? And we're emptying our freezers and cupboards. I did just want something like sorbet, like some frozen fruit ice. But I had a dodgy stomach, and I just didn't feel right after eating that. The ingredients list for that sorbet had about 10 things in it.
Wow, that's impressive.
Like emulsifiers and gums and why?
A lot of those things, so like carrageenan gum and stuff like that, that can really upset the digestive system.
It did.
Yeah.
Quite badly, because I'm now eating such a caveman diet at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing as well. So people, once you start to eat cleaner, you realise actually that some of those things that probably you ate quite regularly before, you really notice the effect on the digestive system. We often, just eat without really feeling the digestive impact on our body. But the cleaner we eat, the more aware we are of those signs and symptoms. They were there before, we just didn't pay attention.
I've kind of always, I don't know if I've always noticed it, but for a long time I have, and it used to give me nodular prurigo. So when I wasn't doing topical steroid withdrawal, when I was just managing eczema with steroid creams, if I had processed foods, I would get nodular prurigo, which basically, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's lumps, quite big, raised, hard lumps that would come up, and they would not go back down like hives. They're a bit like hives, but they wouldn't go down. They would be there for a long time sometimes. It's really itchy, and you break the top, and they just would never heal. They would bleed profusely. Very odd phenomenon.
Nodular, so that's suggesting that there's a lump of something. Now, what would create a lump in the body? Something that is not being eliminated, horrible. Right?
And it took me a while to realise that I could control it, but only when I cut out all the free from processed foods that I was now having.
Yes. Yes.
And I was on all these forums. And every time I've been on the forums, people are desperate, and I tell them, you need to cut out processed food. That's what I've never had it since. And you know what? I had at the weekend nodular prurigo after eating that lemon sorbet. So there you go. I had 2 of them, which are now really sore.
Oh, bless you.
Adrenal support is the last one.
Yes, which will have a combination in it, because that's Dr.
It's got lots of things in it. It's got eleuthera root, wild yam, cleavers, parsley, kosher wu, saw palmetto, chased treeberry, juniper berry, dandelion root, rhodiola, and kelp frond powder. Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different herbs in there.
Yeah.
As a group, they are typically all working on the adrenal gland, but they will also be working on other areas of the body as well. Saw palmetto is a very well-known one from a male glandular perspective. So often this is given for men to support the prostate, but it also is just a general gland tonic as well. So it can be very helpful for women too, but more, I suppose, for men if you're taking it on its own. But in a formula, a lot of those formulas with Dr. Morse, they're very, he's been observing clients for a long time, and he constantly kind of adjusts his formulas to try and get them to support specific areas better. So yeah, the adrenals with topical steroid withdrawal are, it's really important to support that gland basically, because your adrenal gland is the one that kind of produces the corticosteroids, right? It produces the anti-inflammatory hormones basically. And so when we're supplementing almost with the topical steroids, the body will be like, awesome, one less job to do, don't need to focus on that anymore. And so it's almost like topical steroid withdrawal is almost, you're trying to retrain your body to function properly. This is why it's such hell that you guys are going through, because if somebody is dealing with adrenal fatigue, for example, anybody watching this, there's quite a few people that I've spoken to. A lot of people when I was at college were actually at college because they got, they were trying to learn how to turn around adrenal fatigue. But if you're dealing with that, it's like you completely run down your batteries and your adrenal glands. They are not working properly. You can't do anything. You can't get out of bed. You've got no energy. Sound familiar? You can't sleep properly at all. There's a big crossover with what's going on with topical steroid withdrawal and adrenal fatigue. There's obviously other elements to it, because adrenal fatigue, we don't necessarily have all the skin stuff going on. But we know that we need to support those adrenal glands to kind of remember the job that they were there to do in the first place, before we kind of took it off them and went, we know what we're doing, don't need to do that.
They're quite happy not to work. They don't just break. They don't break. They don't disappear. They just have a holiday, don't they?
Yeah, they just have a little holiday basically. It's
so
like,
they're quite happy.
Yeah, and then you're like, could you just go back to what you're doing before? It's like that teenager that's like being tried to. It's their parents like, could you clean your room, please?
Yeah.
Oh.
They've had years of holiday. It's not just like they've retired.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah. So you're
back out of retirement now.
Yes, you're trying to bring them back out of retirement. Yes, that's probably a good way of explaining it.
Well, yeah, if they had a holiday, you'd think maybe they'd not worked for a few months, but no, it's been long term.
Yeah, exactly. And so, it's never just one thing, but that is an area that we really want to support. I kind of feel like we got maybe a little bit off topic with the nettle, but the nettle is something that I would definitely recommend. Helps to remove the acid from the body, thyroid support as well. So from a metabolism perspective, if somebody is like, okay, I'm feeling hot, I'm feeling cold, maybe they've got cold hands and feet, but the rest of themselves is really, really hot, then nettle can be very helpful from that perspective as well. Again, because we're both in the UK, I always look at what grows in abundance around us, okay, in our countryside. So in the UK, nettle is everywhere. Burdock is everywhere.
I don't know what that looks like.
No, burdock is an interesting one. I have to find some pictures, but a lot of them, they kind of looks just like green leafy.
Yeah.
So, big leaves. But think of, obviously, if you've got nettles, you're going to have dock leaves.
Dock, yeah.
Nearby, right? So there you go.
What's dock? Oh, is that burdock? Dock.
Burdock.
Is it the same thing? Oh, I do know what it is.
Yeah. So they grow together for a reason. They
you rub that on, don't you? Yeah. Stung yourself with nettles. I don't know if that ever used to work. Grab a dock leaf and rub it on.
Yeah. But so you've got those two. Dandelions grow everywhere. There's a reason for that.
Chickweed in my garden.
Yeah. Chickweed, again, great for the skin and the eczema, definitely. Cleavers, we have cleavers in our garden. They are out in spring. And remember, this time of year as well. So cleansing and supporting the body to eliminate is what we want to be doing in spring and summer. So as you guys are watching this, this is the time. If you are thinking, oh my goodness, you know, I want to support my body to eliminate and get this stuff out. We're not, you know, as we've titled this supplements, as you've caught from the beginning, this is not about supplements. This is about
about not using
supplements. But what can you use to support your body to be doing what it's doing?
So can we just go and grab those weeds? Because obviously I've been doing it a bit. I've been making tea with nettles and dandelions. But what else can you do? Like chickweed, what would I do with that? Salad?
Chickweed, I'm not 100% sure with
can eat it, I think.
Yeah, so
it, but
dandelion leaves you can just add in salads.
Yeah.
Cleavers, which I've got in the garden, you can juice a little bit of cleavers, like just a stem of cleavers. So add that into your green juice in the morning if you wanted to. Typically what I do is I will go and harvest. And in spring and summer, you want to be harvesting like the leaves and the flowers of things, basically. So not the roots. We don't want the roots at this point. Roots is for collecting in autumn.
Okay.
Some more medicinal properties in the roots in autumn. So spring and summer, you want leaves, you want flowers. Gather them, dry them. So I typically like cut loads of stuff up, and then I will lay it out in the sunshine, which we've just had quite a bit of, which has been nice. But I'll just lay it all out in the sunshine to dry.
Blowing all over the place at the moment.
Yes, yeah. And then once it's dried, you can just crumble it, and then I store it. So I've got those herbs for use over winter as well.
Okay.
But you can, you know, typically the easiest way of doing it is to make teas. So gathering them and then just, you know, making.
You can use it fresh.
Yeah.
But the idea of drying it is so that you've still got it over.
Yeah, yeah. I typically dry and use over winter, so I've got teas over winter. But we will use, so what I'll use like aromatic herbs for teas. So we do a lot of like lemon balm, thyme, rosemary, mint, oregano. Use those in teas.
Sage, shepherd's pie is a load of sage.
Yeah, sage is another good one as well. Yeah.
What about lavender?
Lavender, I've got lavender as well. So yeah, I've got that. I use that in teas. Nice cooling, quite a cooling herb as well, which is good for hot skin. Right. So lavender tea.
I think I've got a sleep tea, which has got some lavender in it.
Yeah, a lot of them. They'll probably have chamomile in as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you know, herbs are herbs, plants, weeds, whatever we want to call them. One person's weed is another person's
your garden,
herbal garden.
You just got a weed patch out there.
Yes. I should take pictures. We have some flowers. We have flowers. The garden is currently kind of, we're redoing the garden at the moment, but I do have a herbal medicine patch.
Yeah, because the problem with my garden is that these things grow where I don't want them. And then I dig them up, and then I wish I hadn't. Like, I dug all the nettles up because they were all around the raspberry canes, which have just started growing. I don't want them there, but now I have no nettles.
Yeah,
you need to
chop.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I should have done that. They were in the wrong place because they're also under a tree where the birds poop on a lot of it. So I need to plant some nettles around.
Well, I'm sure the nettles will probably see to that for you.
Come back, yeah.
Yeah, what I found, I was always very bad at like making plants grow, but things like dandelion, nettle, all those kind of medicinal herbs, they just grow. You don't actually need any ability.
Watering.
Yeah, they are, you know, they just sort of pop up here, there, and everywhere, and you know. So yeah, I'm in the process of trying to identify what I want to take out of the garden and what I want to leave in the garden.
Do you have discussions with your other half? Is he fine with you having a wild patch?
Yes. Yeah, I have to, because he'd be like, "Oh, I'm digging it." I'm like, "No, don't dig that up." He's like, "But it's weed." I'm like, "It's not a weed." He knows now. He knows that there's no weeds. That these are all medicinal.
They're mine, my babies.
Yeah. Like, look what I've cultivated. He's like, "You haven't cultivated anything." Okay, I know. But yeah, just I think with, when it comes down to, I suppose, supplementing, we have to almost turn it on its head. Okay, don't waste your money on these really expensive manufactured vitamins and minerals, because the body gets very confused. Very confused, and we've already got enough going on. We need to simplify it. And so for anybody dealing with eczema, dealing with any kind of chronic health condition, to be perfectly honest, we want to be as simple as possible on the digestive system. So with herbs, tinctures are great because they're easy for the body to absorb. Juicing some of the herbs is going to be really useful. If people want to learn more around herbs, I've got summer school starting very soon, and there's going to be like a herb section in that. So if people are wanting to learn more in depth about what you can do with different herbs, I'm putting the curriculum together at the moment, so there'll be more in there. But yeah, it's once you start looking, there's a lot of online resources. So for anybody that is interested, there's a lot you can learn online.
I've got ground elder, and I don't know what its benefits are, but I put it all over my garden, and I've been doing some research. You can fry that in a bit of oil, so maybe coconut oil, maybe with garlic. Apparently,
Nice.
It's a bit tough for a salad, but probably more. It doesn't look that tough, but it is quite tough. I've tried it in salad, and it's quite hard to chew up, so you need to cook it.
Yes.
I'm making all these salads with things out of my garden. Can't eat it.
Yeah, just like, oh no, maybe that wasn't the right thing.
Maybe not that one.
Yeah. Yes. Well, just a point to note, not everything is edible.
No. Don't just eat everything in your garden. Due
diligence, people. Due diligence.
Wild garlic is the other lovely one at the moment.
Yeah, I make pesto with that. That's a really nice one.
Probably just about gone.
Yes, yeah, it's normally an early kind of spring type thing. The season might be over, but yeah, right now, I suppose for people, nettles are abundant, dandelions abundant, cleavers abundant. A lot of these herbs that are coming up.
What that looks like.
Which one?
Cleavers.
Cleavers are the ones that kind of stick to you. So they've
got their long. Got that, like Velcro.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and they've got like the little whirls of like leaves that come out.
So you put that in your juice?
Yeah, so you could just take a little stem of that. You could juice one stem. That is a lymph mover, so that's one of the most powerful lymph movers.
Okay.
So if somebody is very lymph stagnant, so for like severe TSW, you might just want to go in with a small amount of that, because it might be like too moving, and so more oozing, more crusting.
So they seem to go for fast rather than a lot of people doing topical steroid withdrawal seem to want to get over with quick.
Yes, whether you can or not is, I don't know.
Yeah, it's maybe a bit unpleasant.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, obviously everybody's got their own tolerance on what they can and can't cope with. So you want to do as much detox and support of the organs and glands as you possibly can, and if you're able to keep emotionally stable at the same time, then that's you're going to move through it a lot quicker, because if you're stressed or angry or upset, that's going to impact your nervous system, impact your digestive system, etc.
Does make people very angry, I think. Just feels very like an injustice. If you're going through any kind of addiction, you kind of think, well, I took the drugs, I drank the booze, whatever it is that you're addicted to, you don't feel angry so much. You might a bit, just with yourself, but this seems so unfair, because it's something we've prescribed, and now we don't really want to go into this now, but we're either called steroid phobic, and then in the same breath told we should be using more of it. So what you're scared of it, so you should be using more. But why are we scared of it? We're scared of it because it's not working. You're giving more and more and more each time.
But it's often the case, though, isn't it? I think probably we can pull that out as a conversation for next month or something, because I think it's really important from I suppose from a support perspective for people to know that it's I suppose maybe how
your
to
body.
respond.
It's exactly. I've done a handout. Maybe I'll send it to you so you can tell what you think. But I did it for my nurses and my doctor, just to explain, because I was having the same conversations with them. Like, have you watched this video? That I've told them to watch a video, and I've told them to read some things that some doctors from America have written, and there's another doctor. It's not China. It's one of the Middle Eastern countries where they've done quite a lot of research. Have you read it? No. Have you read it? No. So I've done a little handout to give to them to keep, because I walk out the door and I email them. They probably then just forget. So they've now got it on file. My Ruth's handout on top of the cell.
Yeah, but it's the thing is, this is, the more people talk about these things, it's like you can't ignore it. Science is observation, and that's where sort of science has its grounding in. It's like, oh, hello, this seems to be happening a lot, maybe there's something in it, let's do some kind of scientific look into this, try and create a study, try and understand what's going on. That's where medicine actually started, just observing the same thing happening. So, but why this is not possible anymore, I do not know, because it's like, oh, if we have a result that comes out that's against what seems to be going on in the mainstream, then we deny all knowledge of it. No, this isn't happening. When you're telling somebody that what they're experiencing and what they're feeling isn't real or isn't reality, or, oh no, what you're dealing with isn't because of this,
it's not valid, you're just being stupid.
It's like, well, hold on a second, how? Okay, right. Illogical. It makes you question everything else.
I mean, it made me think then, when you said that, of people who don't vaccinate their children. When you disregard their thoughts. Now, I actually do think if I had kids, I probably would get them vaccinated. I'm not saying not vaccinating your kids is a good thing to do, but because there's been no proper research and because no one's really been observing it properly.
Oh, there's been lots of observation.
People then go away and just don't vaccinate their children. So you kind of then you're left with a situation where people are not engaging at all with the medical profession because they don't feel listened to. So we should. Well, that's another thing.
That's a whole other story. But yes, that's a big topic. Big topic.
One thing I did last week, that just really, really blew my mind. Now, my local yoga group are really cool, and I didn't go initially because it's a bit more expensive than other yoga classes, but eventually went, and it's yin yoga, which I've never done before. Yin yoga kind of puts you into a bit of discomfort, and you hold the poses for longer than you would in normal yoga, and you become comfortable with discomfort, as long as it's not painful or like really tipping, anything that you know when it's bad pain, when it's just like discomfort, like, oh yeah, I haven't done that before and it doesn't feel right. That's what you're meant to get to that point. And they did this class that was called Healing for Skin. I posted something and she contacted me, probably because I hadn't booked on a class for a while. But where's Ruth?
Where's she gone?
We've got this, and it was called Skin Healing Class. It was amazing. I don't know if you do any yoga, but it was all based around cooling the body and the different postures that we did. It was a very slow, very calming class, and I felt amazing. And halfway through, I had such a mucus episode. The teacher was like, all right. I had to just go up and just get tissues and just blow my nose. It was just coming out of my eyes and my nose.
Amazing. And
again, after the class, I had that again. I'm not
good detox.
It totally throughout the class. I was just like detoxing it, and I felt so good afterwards. Obviously, it's not a cure. The topical steroid then comes back, and you're still going to get itchy later in the day. But for a couple of hours, I felt amazing, and it did make a massive difference.
Well, that would have just generally helped your nervous system, generally helps move your lymphatic system.
Yeah.
So it's, as we say, you know, it's like, yeah, it's not like I need to do just this one thing and it'll all be fixed. But what you're doing is you're just moving. That's another step on your journey, isn't it? You know, another layer off. Excellent. Whatever just came out and poured out your nose and your eyes, we don't need that anymore, you know.
And I think for me, that type of yoga is better for me at the moment than some of my other yoga classes that are quite hard and quite strong and making me very hot. And I really struggle to concentrate because I'm itchy all the time through the class, and I'm not getting as much out of that.
No,
So if anyone wants to do yoga and restorative yoga as well, I don't know if you've ever done that. We should do a whole chat about this.
Yes. Pick a yoga one. Well, we need to sort out the next month's
next week's.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So if we will wrap up the supplements there, and anybody that has got any questions, or you know, any sort of feedback, I suppose. We've got the videos that are recorded, so remember you can go back and watch the previous ones. They're all online, and also there's downloadable audio for you guys if you don't actually want to watch the video. So if you log in and watch it then. Absolutely. Awesome.
And the next one, is natural skincare. I think.
Natural skincare, excellent.
I mean, we're talking about everything every time, but
I know. Yeah,
try and get some focus.
Yes, it is. It has a focus, but it always comes back to everything, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's so true. Awesome. Well, I am gonna hit stop on the recording. Thank you for joining us, and yes, we will see you all soon.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Right.